Welcome, beloved soul. You are not here by accident. You are here because your heart has been whispering questions that only heaven can answer, and the angels have drawn you into this moment so that peace may rest upon you. Even now, as you listen, I ask you to breathe gently. Let the noise of the world grow faint. Let the troubles you carry loosen their grip, for God is about to speak to you in a way that will calm your doubts and renew your strength. The message is simple, yet it may shake you to your core. Angels are saying that there is someone in your life, or about to enter your life, who longs to marry you now. And the reason behind their longing is not what most expect. It is not only about desire or timing or loneliness. It is because heaven itself has been stirring their soul, awakening them to the truth of who you are in God's plan. This is why their heart cannot rest. This is why their spirit is unsettled until they draw closer to you. For in you, beloved, they see more than a person. They see the reflection of God's promise. They see the living answer to prayers they have whispered in secret. As it is written, "He who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord." Proverbs 18:22, NIV. And though this verse speaks of marriage in its simplest form, the deeper truth is that when one soul recognizes the one prepared for them, it feels like stumbling into the very favor of heaven. So hear this. The shocking reason they want to marry you now is because their soul has awakened to God's timing. Not human timing, not cultural timing, not even the timing they once thought would be best, but God's timing, which presses upon the heart like a holy urgency. Perhaps you have felt the same stirrings. Perhaps you have asked, "Why now, Lord? Why does everything seem to be moving so quickly?" And heaven replies, "Because delay would only dim the light of what I am bringing together." Think of Ruth and Boaz. When the season was right, Boaz did not wait in hesitation. He stepped forward. He covered Ruth with kindness, and he sealed their union under God's blessing. Boaz could have delayed, but the spirit within him pressed him to move, for destiny was calling. The angels are showing me that the one who longs to marry you is feeling this same holy weight. It is not fear that drives them. It is not fleshly impatience. It is the recognition that to wait any longer would be to resist God's perfect plan. As it is written, there is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. Ecclesiastes 3:1 NIV. And beloved, your season of waiting is shifting into a season of fulfillment. The time of promises whispered is turning into the time of promises revealed. But let me tell you something tender, something not everyone will understand. The reason they want to marry you now is not only because of love, but because they see how your spirit steadies theirs. They feel anchored when you are near. They feel closer to God when they hear your words, when they watch your patience, when they notice the way your faith shines in quiet strength. You may not even realize how deeply you affect them. You may think of yourself as ordinary. You may look into the mirror and only see someone weary, someone scarred by battles. But to them, you are God's chosen instrument. You are their safe harbor. You are the answered prayer that has finally appeared in flesh and spirit. And so, the angels say again, the shocking reason they want to marry you now is because heaven has shown them that with you, their soul can finally rest. As it is written, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," Psalm 23:1 KJV. This peace is not only from marriage, it is from being aligned with the person God has chosen. And that alignment feels like rest to the restless. It feels like water to the thirsty. It feels like home. Beloved, I know some of you listening are afraid. You are asking, how can I trust this? What if I am deceived? What if this is not truly from God? And I say to you, your fear is not shameful. Your questions are not weakness. They are the natural cries of a heart that has been wounded before. But hear this promise. The Lord is faithful, and he will strengthen you and protect you from the evil one. 2 Thessalonians 3:3 NIV. If you remain close to him, no deception will overtake you. If you continue to pray, he will confirm what is true. He will guard your heart even as he brings love into your life. Do not think it strange that your union comes quickly. Do not think it reckless when love blooms suddenly. For sometimes God has been preparing both hearts for years, and only in a moment does he allow the doors to swing open. When the doors open, it feels sudden, but the roots have been growing unseen beneath the soil. And so it is with this marriage. The suddenness is only the surface. The roots are deep in God's plan. The timing is heaven's design. Beloved, as you listen, I invite you to let this word settle. Do not rush past it. Sit with it in prayer. Whisper back to God the feelings you hold inside. If joy rises, thank Him. If fear rises, surrender it. If confusion rises, ask for light. He is listening to every breath, every word, every silent thought. And as you sit in this peace, I humbly ask, if these words have touched you, if they have brought comfort to your soul, consider supporting this channel so that more weary hearts may find rest. Subscribe to receive more messages of peace and guidance. Share this with a friend who may be questioning God's timing in their life. Leave a comment with your reflections or prayer requests. I read them with love and lift them before God. And if you feel led, you may offer a super thanks as a seed to help this message continue reaching the ones who need it most. Every act of support is not just for this channel. It is a way of partnering with God's work to heal souls. Beloved, I leave you with this final truth for today. They want to marry you now because God has stirred their spirit to recognize you as His divine choice. And when God reveals His choice, human hesitation fades. What remains is holy urgency, a pull toward covenant, a desire to anchor love in God's blessing. As it is written, "What therefore God hath joined together, let not man put asunder." Mark 10:9 KJV. You are stepping into a union that no force of darkness can undo. You are walking into a promise that no delay can cancel. Rest in this. Receive this, and let your soul be still. Beloved soul, welcome back. You have returned because something within you recognizes that this message is not ordinary. It is not just about human love. It is about divine timing, divine choosing, divine revelation. And the angels whisper again, the shocking reason they want to marry you now is because they have seen what life is like without you. And they can no longer imagine living outside of God's plan that includes you. This is more than affection. This is more than longing. This is revelation. For when God opens the eyes of someone's heart, they see with clarity what they once overlooked. They see the treasure that heaven has placed before them. They see the covenant written in eternal light. As it is written, every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights. James 1:17 ESV. And beloved, you are that good and perfect gift in their eyes. Not because you are flawless, but because God has chosen you to walk beside them. You are heaven's answer wrapped in humanity. Do not think lightly of this. When someone sees you through God's lens, everything changes. The angels say, this is why their urgency has grown. They have tasted the emptiness of life without you. They have touched the loneliness of walking without their divine companion. And now, having glimpsed the light of what God offers through you, they cannot turn back. Think of Adam in the garden. God had given him beauty, dominion, abundance, yet still he was incomplete. So the Lord formed Eve, and when Adam beheld her, his spirit cried out, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh." Genesis 2:23 KJV. Do you feel the immediacy in those words? Adam did not hesitate. He recognized instantly that Eve was the one he was waiting for. So it is now. The one who longs to marry you sees you not as an option, but as completion. They see you not as convenience, but as covenant. And this recognition stirs in them an urgency that may surprise even you. But beloved, I know your heart. You have waited long. You have endured disappointments, betrayals, and false promises. You have wondered if true love would ever come. So when someone appears with urgency, when someone longs to marry you quickly, part of you trembles and asks, "Is this real?" And the Spirit replies, "Yes, it is real. Yes, it is sacred. Yes, it is God's timing. For He has made everything beautiful in its time." Ecclesiastes 3:11 NIV. The beauty of this moment is not rushed. It is appointed. It is prepared. It is a fulfillment of prayers whispered in your tears. Prayers you thought had gone unanswered. Beloved, pause for a moment and let that sink in. Every prayer you whispered into your pillow at night. Every longing you carried when no one saw. Every tear that fell quietly, unseen by human eyes. God was gathering them, and now He is answering. As it is written, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle." Psalm 56:8 NLT. Your tears have not been wasted. Your waiting has not been empty. It has been the soil in which this love is now blooming. And so, the angels say again, the shocking reason they want to marry you now is because God has shown them that their destiny is incomplete without you. They have discovered that their prayers point to you, their peace rests with you, and their future is only full when joined to yours. Do not be afraid, beloved. Do not resist what God has made clear. For while the world may question the timing, heaven rejoices in the fulfillment. While others may say, "It is too soon," God declares, "It is the appointed time." As it is written, "Write the vision, and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie." Habakkuk 2:23 KJV. And beloved, the vision of this marriage is speaking now. It is crying out that the appointed time has come. I want to pause here and speak directly to your heart. If these words are reaching you, if they feel like the answer to what you have been seeking, I invite you gently, subscribe for more messages of peace and divine guidance. Leave a comment with your thoughts or your prayer requests. I treasure them and lift them before God. Share this video with someone who needs a reminder that God's timing is always perfect. And if your spirit feels led, you may bless this work with a super thanks, helping this channel continue bringing God's comfort to weary hearts across the world. Every gift, every word of encouragement is a seed that multiplies into hope for someone else. Now let us return to the heart of this message. The angels say their longing to marry you now is not just about destiny, it is also about protection. For God places us in covenant not only for love but for covering. Marriage is not merely companionship, it is spiritual shelter. As it is written, "Two are better than one. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up." Ecclesiastes 4:9-10 NIV. They want to cover you with prayer. They want to lift you when you stumble. They want to stand guard when the enemy presses against your soul. They have realized that their strength is incomplete without yours, and yours is incomplete without theirs. Together, you form a shield that no weapon can pierce. This urgency is holy. It is not about escape. It is not about fear. It is about standing together as God intended, before the storms of life grow stronger. It is about covenant that strengthens, covenant that shelters, covenant that endures. Beloved, as you listen, take comfort, take hope, take courage. For this marriage is not a fleeting passion. It is not a fragile dream. It is God's enduring promise. You are not being rushed into something unsafe. You are being ushered into something sacred. You are being carried into the embrace of the one God has prepared for you. As it is written, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" Isaiah 43:19 ESV. Yes, beloved, God is doing a new thing in your life. The urgency you feel is the sound of that new thing springing forth. The longing they feel is the Spirit pushing them into alignment with God's plan. Rest in this truth. They want to marry you now because heaven has pressed upon them the revelation that life without you is life unfinished. And when God opens such truth to a soul, it cannot be ignored. It cannot be delayed. It must be embraced with holy boldness. And so I say to you in peace, do not fear the speed of this love. Trust the one who ordains its timing. Trust the God who holds both your hearts in his hand. As it is written, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Proverbs 3:5-6 NIV. Your path is being straightened. Your future is being revealed. And your heart is being prepared for a covenant that will glorify God. So breathe deeply now. Let your spirit be still. Let your faith rise, for the angels are singing over you. The time is now. The covenant is ready, and your soul is stepping into fulfillment. Beloved soul, you have walked with me through this message, step by step, word by word. And now, as we come to this final part, I want to invite you to quiet your spirit even more deeply, for the angels are still speaking, and what they are saying now carries a weight of eternity. They say again, the shocking reason they want to marry you now is because they finally see that God has written your lives together as one story. And when the author reveals the next chapter, no one can delay its unfolding. Perhaps you have doubted. Perhaps you have said, Lord, why would they choose me now? Why so suddenly? Why with such urgency? And God replies, because I have prepared you both in secret. What seemed sudden was long in the making. What feels fast was built slowly in the quiet of my will. As it is written, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1:5 NIV. Beloved, if God knew you before your birth, do you not see that he also knew the one who would walk beside you? This marriage is not a coincidence. It is not a rush of emotion, It is a covenant that God has carried in his heart since before time began. This is why they feel compelled to marry you now, because deep within, their soul recognizes the eternal echo. You are the one. And once that echo is heard, no silence can erase it. But let us go even deeper. The angels say that their longing is not only about companionship, not only about love, it is about mission. For marriage in God's design is more than comfort. It is calling. It is partnership for the kingdom. As it is written, two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. Ecclesiastes 4:9 NIV. Your union is not simply for yourselves. It is for others. It is for the lives you will touch together, the prayers you will release together, the battles you will win together. This is why God is urging this marriage forward now, because the assignment waiting for you both cannot begin until you are united. Think of Esther and the king. When Esther was joined to him, it was not only for her blessing, but for the salvation of her people. God placed her in position for such a time as this. Esther 4:14 NIV. Beloved, the same is true for you. This union is not only about two hearts. It is about destiny that will ripple outward to many. Do not underestimate this. The enemy has fought hard to delay it. He has tried to distract, to discourage, to divide. But what God ordains cannot be destroyed. What God unites cannot be undone. As it is written, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17 KJV. Your marriage will stand under this promise. Your covenant will walk under this shield. The weapons may be formed, but they will not succeed. Beloved, I feel your heart trembling. I feel the weight of your questions. Am I ready? Can I step into this covenant without fear? And I speak peace over you now. Yes, you are ready. Not because you are perfect, but because God is faithful. He who began this work will finish it. He who planted this love will sustain it. He who authored this story will bring it to completion. As it is written, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Philippians 1:6 NIV. The good work has already begun. The completion is already in motion, and your heart will find strength in the one who holds both of you. Beloved, let us pause here in reverence. Close your eyes if you can. Feel the presence of God drawing near. He is whispering peace into your soul. He is reminding you that you are not walking blindly. You are walking in light. You are walking in promise. You are walking in covenant. This is why they want to marry you now, because the Spirit of God is pushing them, drawing them, urging them to seal what heaven has already confirmed. And when God's Spirit moves, resistance fades, hesitation dissolves, fear bows. Beloved, if these words have touched your soul, if they have answered questions you held quietly in your heart, I invite you again with humility. Subscribe so you may continue receiving words of peace and guidance. Leave a comment with your reflections, your testimonies, or your prayer requests. I hold them in love and bring them before God. Share this message with someone who may need to hear that God's timing is never late. And if you feel led, consider offering a super thanks as a seed to help this channel continue bringing heaven's comfort to weary souls across the world. Every small act of support becomes part of a greater harvest, spreading hope where despair once lived. Now, as we draw near to the close, I leave you with this final truth. They want to marry you now because God is writing a story that requires both of you together. Your individual journeys have been beautiful, but the next chapter is not meant to be written alone. The covenant is waiting. The mission is waiting. The blessing is waiting. As it is written, therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. Mark 10:9 NIV. Your joining is divine. Your timing is divine. Your future is divine. Rest in this, beloved. Let the urgency no longer trouble you. Let the speed no longer frighten you. For this is not haste, it is holy timing. This is not desperation, it is destiny. You are walking into the covenant of a lifetime. You are stepping into love that was chosen before the foundations of the earth. And the angels rejoice as you say yes to the plan of God. So go in peace now. Carry this truth in your heart. And remember always, the reason they want to marry you now is because heaven has already said yes. Welcome again, beloved soul. You have returned because your spirit knows this journey is not yet finished. There is still more light to be revealed, more peace to be poured out, more truth for your heart to embrace. The angels whisper once again, the shocking reason they want to marry you now is because God has awakened them to the weight of covenant, and their heart can no longer delay stepping into obedience. For covenant is not only a bond between two people, It is a bond witnessed by heaven itself. It is a vow spoken on earth but sealed in eternity. And when the Spirit presses someone toward covenant, it feels like fire in their bones. They cannot ignore it. They cannot sleep it away. They cannot reason it away. It is the holy weight of God's timing. As it is written, "It is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper fit for him." Genesis 2:18 ESV. Beloved, God created marriage to be a reflection of his heart, a shelter, a union, a partnership that carries divine purpose. And when he shows someone that their helper has been revealed, they are stirred to act without delay. This is why they want to marry you now. Not because the world tells them to, not because culture pushes them, but because the Spirit confirms that to wait would be to resist the blessing. Think of Mary when the angel came to her. The message of God's plan shocked her, surprised her, even frightened her. But she said, "Be it unto me according to your word." Luke 1:38 KJV. She did not delay. She did not ask for years to pass first. She surrendered in the moment God spoke. And beloved, this is the posture of the one who longs to marry you. They are saying, "Be it unto me according to God's word. Be it unto me according to God's timing." Do you see now? The urgency is obedience. The urgency is surrender. The urgency is alignment with heaven. Perhaps your heart still trembles. Perhaps you wonder, but what about my past? What about my brokenness? Am I worthy of such a covenant? And the Spirit answers, yes, beloved, for it is not your worthiness that makes the covenant holy. It is God's grace. It is not your perfection that secures this love. It is God's faithfulness. As it is written, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." 2 Corinthians 12:9 NIV. Your weaknesses are not barriers. They are invitations for God's strength to shine. And the one who longs to marry you now has seen your flaws, yet still they choose you, because they are not blinded by illusion. They are guided by revelation. Beloved, I want you to feel this truth in your spirit. They want to marry you now, not because they think you are flawless, but because they know you are faithful. They see the way you hold on to God when life storms against you. They see the way your heart bends but does not break. They see the way your prayers rise like incense, even in your weariness. And this draws them, because they know that with you, their own faith will be strengthened. As it is written, "Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another." Proverbs 27:17 ESV. You sharpen them, you steady them, you awaken their soul to God's nearness. This is why they cannot wait. This is why their heart says, "Now, beloved, let us pause here." If these words are blessing you, if you feel the Spirit speaking into your own situation, I invite you gently. Subscribe for more messages of peace and divine guidance. Leave a comment with your reflections or your prayer requests. I hold them tenderly and bring them before God. Share this message with someone who may be questioning the timing of love in their life. And if you feel led, you may also bless this work with a super thanks, helping this channel continue carrying God's comfort to weary souls everywhere. Every act of support is a prayer turned into action, a seed that helps love and light reach further. Now listen closely, beloved. The angels reveal something even deeper. They say this urgency is also about healing. For your union is not only about joy, it is about restoration. You have both walked through wounds. You have both carried scars. You have both cried silent tears that no one else has understood. And now God is bringing you together, not to erase the past, but to redeem it. As it is written, "I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten." Joel 2:25 KJV. Yes, beloved, your wasted years will be restored. Your broken seasons will be redeemed. Your tears will be turned into testimony. This marriage is part of that restoration. And this is why the timing feels so urgent, because the season of mourning has passed and the season of restoration has arrived. They want to marry you now because their soul longs not only for love, but for healing. They know that with you, they will find peace that the world cannot give. And you, beloved, will find the same. So do not resist the swiftness of this blessing. Do not push away what God is pressing toward you. Instead, open your heart, lift your hands, say yes to the one who writes your story with perfect wisdom. As it is written, "The blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it." Proverbs 10:22 KJV. This marriage will not add sorrow to you. It will add peace. It will add joy. It will add strength. It will add blessing upon blessing. Beloved, let this final thought settle deep in your spirit. The shocking reason they want to marry you now is because God is ready to reveal his faithfulness through your union. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. For the appointed time has come, and the angels rejoice as your story unfolds in love. Beloved soul, welcome back into this sacred moment of stillness, where heaven's whispers meet the tender longings of your heart. You have walked with me through the unfolding of this message, and even now God continues to draw you nearer, so you may hear not just the words spoken aloud, but the truth that resonates in your spirit. The angels have not stopped speaking. They keep pointing toward this reality. There is one who longs to bind their life with yours, and their urgency is not born of desperation, but of divine recognition. They have seen something in you, a reflection of God's own love and steadfastness, and their soul is stirred to commit, not later, not in some distant tomorrow, but now, in the present moment that heaven has prepared. This is the reason behind their desire to marry you quickly. They sense the fleeting nature of life, and they do not wish to waste another day living outside of the covenant God has whispered to their spirit. As it is written, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom, Psalm 90:12. They feel this wisdom deeply, that life is short, that tomorrow is not promised, and that to delay love is to risk missing the blessing that God himself has arranged. Beloved, do not confuse their eagerness with haste. It is not recklessness, it is revelation. For the Spirit has awakened them to know what their heart already knew, that your soul and theirs are meant to walk side by side. They have prayed in secret, they have wrestled with doubts, but the conviction only grows stronger. Every delay feels like resistance to God's will, and so they desire to step forward now, to embrace the covenant of love that heaven has designed. And what is marriage, if not the reflection of Christ's love for his church? As Scripture says, husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. Ephesians 5:25. This is not shallow affection, it is holy surrender. It is a willingness to lay down one's own comfort, to love with sacrifice, to remain steadfast through every storm. They want to marry you now, because their heart has already decided to love you in this way, and waiting any longer feels like denying the truth. Perhaps you have felt unsure. Perhaps you have asked yourself, why now? Why so soon? What if I am not ready? But beloved soul, hear this gently. Sometimes readiness does not arrive through long preparation, but through obedience to the timing of God, as it is written, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. Their desire is not to rush you, but to honor the paths God has intertwined. They believe, deeply, wholeheartedly, that the two of you are already one in spirit, and marriage is the outward seal of what heaven has already declared. And you may wonder, what if I falter? What if we face hardships? Beloved, every covenant faces storms, but the difference is this. When God is the foundation, storms may shake, but they cannot destroy. Remember the words of Jesus, therefore what God has joined together, let no one separate. Mark 10:9. This union is not about perfection, it is about divine joining, and once God has joined you, he himself becomes the keeper of your covenant. Now I invite you to pause and breathe, to let this message rest upon your heart. The angels are speaking not to burden you, but to give you peace. They want you to see the love before you not as sudden, but as sacred, not as reckless, but as revealed. If this message stirs your soul, I humbly invite you to subscribe for more gentle guidance, to share your reflections or prayer requests in the comments, to pass this word along to someone who needs to be reminded of God's timing, and, if you feel led, to support this channel with a super thanks. Every seed you sow helps keep these messages flowing to weary hearts around the world. Your kindness becomes part of God's work in reaching those who long for his peace. Beloved, hear this clearly. You are not being pursued because of outward beauty alone, nor because of fleeting attraction. You are being pursued for covenant, for destiny, for the sacred purpose written before time began, and that is why they want to marry you now, because deep within, they know waiting is no longer obedience, but hesitation. And their soul longs to say yes to God. By saying yes to you, let your heart not be troubled, for even if you cannot see the whole path ahead, the one who holds tomorrow walks with you today, as it is written, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. And so, trust this, their love is not mere emotion. It is an echo of God's eternal plan. And you, dear soul, are standing at the threshold of covenant blessing. Beloved soul, welcome once again to this sanctuary of peace, where your weary heart may breathe, and your searching spirit may hear what heaven is gently revealing. The angels are not silent today. They keep leaning close, reminding you of what perhaps you have already sensed in your spirit. That this union is not ordinary, that their desire to marry you now carries a depth far beyond human longing. They want to marry you now because they see the fingerprints of God all over your life. They sense the way your presence steadies their soul, the way your prayers shift atmospheres, the way your quiet strength makes them braver than they knew they could be. And beloved, they are not wrong. You are a gift prepared by heaven. You are an answer whispered through years of waiting and prayer. As it is written, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord." Proverbs 18:22. And likewise, a woman who is led by God into covenant with a man of faith steps into a divine blessing that ripples through generations. This urgency in their heart, this yearning to covenant with you, is not only for themselves. It is for the family yet unborn, for the ministry not yet birthed, for the future that depends upon two souls becoming one. They want to marry you now because delay feels like disobedience, and obedience is sweeter to their spirit than hesitation. Think of Mary, the young woman chosen to carry the Son of God. When the angel declared the will of heaven, she did not demand years of preparation. She simply said, "Behold, I am the servant of the Lord. Let it be to me according to your word." Luke 1:38. Sometimes, beloved, faith does not wait until every detail is visible. Faith steps forward because God has spoken. And the one who longs to marry you now is responding to that same stirring of divine faith. They are not blind to the cost. They are not naive to the trials that may come. But they know this: the storms of life are easier endured with you by their side than victories are celebrated without you near. And so, heaven urges you, do not let fear speak louder than love. Do not let hesitation silence obedience. For as it is written, there is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear. 1 John 4:18. Perfect love is not about perfection of people, but about the presence of God in the covenant. And where God dwells, fear has no room to remain. Beloved soul, perhaps your mind is full of questions. Perhaps your heart feels both the pull of love and the weight of uncertainty. That is why heaven speaks now, to remind you that this is not a story you are writing alone. This is God's story, and his stories always end in redemption, always end in glory, always end in love that outlasts time. The angels say, they want to marry you now because God has revealed the beauty of who you are, and they cannot imagine walking another day without honoring that gift. Beloved, if these words have touched your spirit, I invite you gently to subscribe for more peaceful guidance, to leave your reflections or prayers in the comments below, to share this message with someone who needs to remember God's timing, and if you feel led, to support this work with a super thanks. Every act of kindness helps these words reach more weary souls in need of light. Your presence here is already a blessing, and I hold deep gratitude for you. As we close this chapter together, hear this once more. You are not merely being loved, you are being chosen. You are being honored. You are being invited into covenant because heaven has already woven your story into theirs. As it is written, the two will become one flesh. So they are no longer two but one flesh. Therefore what God has joined together, let no one separate. Mark 10:8-9. And so, beloved, walk forward not with fear, but with faith, not with trembling, but with trust. For the shocking reason they want to marry you now is not found in haste, but in heaven. And when love is born of heaven, it is eternal. Peace be upon you. Amen.